Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most complex, most compelling figures in all of literature, Sri Krishna from the epic Mahabharata. So, here's the thing about Krishna. He's seen as a divine being, totally dedicated to righteousness. But he's also been called a master political manipulator, even an Indian Machiavelli. How can both of those things be true? Is he a god, or is he a brilliant, maybe even ruthless strategist? That's the contradiction we're going to try and unravel today. And to help us navigate this, we're going to be drawing from the analysis of Professor K.S. Narayanacharya. His work really helps to unpack the many, many different roles Krishna plays throughout the epic. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at this divine paradox, then his role as a strategist for the good guys, you could say. We'll explore him as a peacemaker who was still ready for war, and as a philosopher right there on the battlefield. And then we'll see how the idea of the avatar brings it all together. All right, first things first. We have to tackle this central paradox. This is the big question that really frames everything else he does in the story. And, as the source material points out, people are really divided on this. Some scholars look at him and see just an Indian Machiavelli, a brilliant political operator for sure, but maybe not much more. Others kind of damn him with faint praise. So the question really is, what's actually going on here? So let's jump into his first major role and see how this all starts to build. Let's talk about Krishna the strategist, the master statesman. See, according to this analysis, Krishna's political maneuvering wasn't for his own gain. He wasn't trying to build a personal empire. His ultimate goal was something much bigger, establishing what's called the rule of the right. And he had this incredible grand strategy to make it happen. It wasn't just random moves. First, he found his team, a small group of level-headed princes. He picked out the Pandavas as his workmen, the people who could get the job done. Then he went to work, strengthening them through diplomacy, building alliances with groups like the Panchalas, and bit by bit he helped them take out the threats to a unified, just society. Okay, but wait a minute. If he's building this empire of dharma, of righteousness, why did it end in one of the most brutal wars imaginable? Well, that brings us to his next role, which might seem like a contradiction. Krishna, the peacemaker. And the text is really clear on this. He wasn't just paying lip service to peace. He was genuinely trying to stop the conflict. His whole goal was to, and I quote, save the rest of the innocent world from the clutches and claws of death. So that's the big question, right? If he really wanted peace, why did the war happen anyway? And the answer gets us right to the core of his worldview. It's because his idea of peace wasn't just about avoiding a fight. This is where we get this incredible metaphor of the surgical war. Think about it. A surgeon doesn't want to cut someone open, right? It's painful, it's invasive, but sometimes to remove a tumor, a wickedness that's killing the body, it's the only option you have for long-term health. He was totally prepared for war because he knew the opposition, these forces of evil, just wouldn't listen to reason. They weren't going to compromise. For Krishna, allowing that overgrowth of wickedness to continue would actually cause more harm to more people over time. The war, as terrible as it was the only path left. So, diplomacy fails. The war is on. And right there on the battlefield, with armies facing each other, Krishna switches gears again. He becomes the philosopher. This is the moment he delivers the Bhagavad Gita. And this is so important. It's not some abstract lecture given in a quiet university hall. It is practical, in-the-moment wisdom for someone facing an absolute moral crisis. It's about how to act righteously when the world is falling apart. And what he tells the great warrior, Arjuna, is basically this. Look, your duty, your kshatriya dharma, is to maintain law and order. A warrior's job is to fight for what's right. You either win or you die trying. You don't live on handouts. You don't live at the mercy of others. You have a job to do. And this all leads us to the final piece of this whole puzzle, the one idea that really ties everything together, the concept of the avatar. So what exactly is an avatar? Well, think of it as a divine descent. It's not a person who becomes a god. It's God descending in human form, coming down by choice, specifically when evil is getting so powerful that it's about to snuff out all the good in the world. And the mission is crystal clear: to protect the good and destroy the evildoers, and thereby to uphold the Dharma. It's all about restoring balance. And there it is. That's how the paradox gets resolved. The strategist, the peacemaker, the philosopher, These aren't separate contradictory roles. They are all just different facets of one single mission, the Avatar's job of dispensing divine justice. So this leaves us with a really deep question, one that's just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. When is a surgical strike for the greater good truly justified? It makes you think, doesn't it?